Hello and welcome to Gardenville.tv. I'm a very lucky girl here. I'm at Bloom, it's 2011, and I'm talking to Michael D Higgins. And Michael, tell me, what do you think of Bloom?
Well, I came early this year because last year when I was at Bloom, it was in late afternoon and I was running out of time. And I came actually on a Friday as well. And last year, Thursday and Friday were really warm days. We had some rain on the Saturday and Sunday, but I was very lucky. But this year I wanted to give it a great deal more time. And so I've come very early and the weather has been perfect.
Well, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic. Now, what do you think of Bloom?
Well, I think that Bloom's great success is the fact that it is integrating two incredibly important aspects of society and of the personality. For example, the whole interest in gardens, the interest in growing things, in fermentation, in reproduction and so on. And then at the same time, it is linked to food and its preparation through the food stalls. And what I was struck with last year were really the creative talents of those who had gone on to form small cheese companies, people who were doing bakery companies, people who were particularly doing, if you like, slow food concepts and so on. And what I suppose it has in common, which is very interesting, is creativity. And that creativity means remembering kind of indigenous sources of wisdom about plants and space and light, and at the same time having imagination to be able to make entirely new shapes. That's what's exciting about the 27 gardens. And I thought what I think is very good as well, people don't understand it maybe at times, is the level which has to be achieved to actually achieve entry, and that every one of the gardens has been certified, and certified really by standards from abroad and by judges from abroad, is terribly impressive. But in the end, you know, what people want to know is they want to know, what can I do with this space? They want to know, how can I get things to grow? And the other thing is that more and more you're seeing a huge return to people who are growing their own vegetables, planting their own fruit trees and so on. And all in all, I think what it has, as well as being a kind of creativity, what I think it also has is that there's something sensory about it. People are recovering the power of their five senses in knowing both visually the shades of difference between colours of plants, the feel of tubers and so forth, and all of the notion of getting their fingers, I think, into the soil and so on. That's all good. I see all that as, if we like, a recovered capacity to play to our strengths.
Absolutely. Well, we here in Ireland, would you agree? I mean, we are originally from the land,
Yes.
and we love that thing of going out into space and working with land and growing our own and getting the achievement. I mean, one thing is growing your own vegetables, but the wonderful thing is picking that vegetable up and bringing it into your garden, or planting your bed and watching the flowers grow and clipping them away and bringing them
But
into
you know,
your
if I
house.
had I'm no longer involved in active politics in the Dole, but one thing I do think that everyone should agree on is of designating Ireland a clean, green, GM-free island. I think you could phase out, if you like, the dependency on animal feeds through subsidies so as to create an equivalence of costs for inputs. But it would be so strong to do it because you have highly educated population, very, very good terrain, rainfall, capacity for imagination, an ability to link things together in a sustainable way. It is so obvious. And I also think it would have the benefit of, because it would be the only one designated in Europe, without saying it, it would automatically promote Irish projects.
Absolutely. Are you a keen gardener?
Yes, my wife is a better gardener than I am, because I think that she probably has more patience. But we do. We sowed, for example, we were very lucky. We're in the place we're in now since 1991. We had nearly an acre. We sowed every single thing that is in it. We have several different kinds of trees. Very early on, we sowed Pitney Bowes experiment on Dutch elm disease-free elms.
Oh, yes.
But we also have several kinds of oaks. I may have about 15, 20 different kinds of trees. But also more and more as we grew older, Sabina, as the person who is the genius at this, we've been, if you like, picking self-maintaining strategies so as to be able to handle spaces and so on. And I'm very much in favour of the things that come back year after year after year.
Now tell me, you'd like to be president.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, well, one of the reasons I decided it really last autumn. I had been 25 years in the Dáil and 9 years in the Senate, and I had served in cabinet, and I had been a Culture Minister and President of the Council of Culture Ministers. And I decided it was how I could best deliver my capacities for the next 7 years would be in building Ireland's reputation at home and drawing on the kind of wide background I had, not just in politics, but in the literary sense as an academic and as somebody who was really from the rural areas, and also then abroad of building up and playing to Ireland's strengths. If you think of it, it is in the cultural area that we have really an untarnished and indeed an expanded reputation. So I think I can do it very well, but I'm very anxious that we move on beyond recrimination and be positive, but also as well, in being positive, recover memories of what we were best at. And we are so good at things associated with the soil, associated with horses, animals, associated with things of the mind that are very important, Irish aid, building peace and conflict zones and so on. And then in our written account, for example, a population that has maintained its own language, but has adopted and taken over and colonised a whole new language in English. And I think that's all. And then we have this extraordinary number of people living all over the world. So that's in that sense, I think, offering both not just a positive thing as a piece of rhetoric, but a kind of a well-informed sensibility to what is best about Ireland. It would be, and whether people, I actually, apart from anything else, I'm all over the country during the summertime anyway, and I have a new book of poems coming out next July, so I'll be reading at the literary festivals, but the discourse attracts me. I'm enjoying this conversation with the Irish public, and I would be very happy to give it 7 years and really give it a lash, and I look forward to that.
Can I just finish on a note? The
And
Chinese...
The Chinese ambassador you were going to
Yes,
ask
he
me.
just mentioned yesterday in an interview that
Yeah.
the Chinese are learning from the Irish on how to grow, etc. Isn't it a very interesting comment?
It is, but I remember I was saying it to the man who designed this wonderful place where we're standing. He said, I remember being enormously impressed in Vietnam, a country that would be much smaller, and so on, about how every single drop of water is used up to 20 times because it is moving through a terraced system for agriculture, coming through reeds, emerging as clean water inside the household and going out again, and so forth. So there are many things they may be learning from us, but this is a great example of the very best of an Eastern approach to water management and resource management as well, and the choice as well of the foliage in relation to all of the water is splendid.
It's very creative. Michael D Higgins, many thanks for talking to us at Gardenville.tv this morning, and the best